Panama Canal, a global trade engine and historic project. The Panama Canal is one of the most significant engineering projects in the world, and it has had a profound impact on global trade since its completion. Before the opening of the Panama Canal, maritime trade between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans required a long journey around Cape Horn, at the southernmost tip of South America. In this article, we will explore the history of the Panama Canal, the importance of the project, the challenges it faced, and how it has contributed to reshaping global trade routes. Trade before the Panama Canal. Before the construction of the Panama Canal, ships wishing to cross the South American continent from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, or vice versa, had to follow a very long route around Cape Horn, the southernmost point of South America. This journey took a significant amount of time, with ships needing to cover distances of up to 13,000 miles, about 21,000 kilometers, across the oceans, which increased costs and extended the duration of the voyage. The idea of the project and the choice of Panama. The idea of creating a canal linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans dates back to the 16th century, when Spanish King Carlos V ordered the feasibility of constructing such a canal to be studied. Panama, with its strategic geographical location between the oceans, was identified as an ideal location for the project. In 1880, France, led by Ferdinand de Lesseps, the engineer behind the Suez Canal, began efforts to construct the Panama Canal. However, the project failed in 1889 due to diseases like malaria and yellow fever, which resulted in the deaths of around 22,000 workers. After the French failure, the United States purchased the construction rights from the French in 1902. At that time, Panama was part of Colombia, but over time, the region's importance as an international waterway grew. The duration and cost of building the canal. The construction of the Panama Canal resumed in the early 20th century under the supervision of the United States. Work began in 1904 after the U.S. succeeded in gaining control of the region through a treaty with the Colombian government. The project took approximately 10 years, and the canal was officially opened on August 15, 1914. The construction of the canal cost around $375 million at the time, equivalent to about $7.7 billion today when adjusted for inflation. Labor, equipment, materials, as well as geographical and natural challenges contributed to the complexity and high cost of the project. Deaths during the excavation. The construction of the Panama Canal was fraught with challenges, particularly the poor health conditions in the region. Yellow fever and malaria were among the greatest threats to the workers' lives. Of the more than 75,000 workers involved in the project, around 5,600 workers died due to diseases or accidents, making the loss of life a painful part of the project's history. Time savings for ships. One of the greatest benefits of the Panama Canal is the significant amount of time it saves for ships. Before the canal was built, ships needed about 60 days to travel around South America via Cape Horn. With the Panama Canal, the time required to cross the continent was reduced to only 8 to 10 hours. This saved a considerable amount of time, allowing ships to reach their destinations faster, which in turn sped up global trade. The economic viability of the project. From an economic standpoint, the Panama Canal project was highly beneficial. It reduced the operating costs for ships and traders who had previously been forced to take the long route around Cape Horn. The canal also facilitated increased trade between the United States and Latin America, while also connecting the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, making the exchange of goods between continents more efficient. Panama's revenue from the canal. Since its opening, Panama has generated substantial revenue from the tolls paid by ships using the canal. During the early decades, the United States was responsible for operating the canal. However, after the transfer of control to Panama in 1999 under the Torrijos-Carter Treaty, Panama gained full rights to manage the canal and collect the profits. Today, the canal constitutes a significant portion of Panama's national income, with annual toll revenues estimated at around $2.5 billion. Current challenges facing the Panama Canal. Despite being one of the largest engineering projects in the world, the Panama Canal faces ongoing challenges. One of the main issues is climate change, as fluctuations in water levels in Gatun Lake, the primary water source used to operate the canal, can affect ship traffic. The canal also faces challenges in accommodating the increasing demand from larger ships, such as giant container vessels, which requires continuous expansion projects. Comparison between the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal. Despite their differences in location and objectives, there are many similarities between the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal. Both serve as crucial waterways that link oceans and contribute to the acceleration of trade between continents. Both projects also faced significant political and technical challenges during their construction. However, the Suez Canal focuses on linking the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, while the Panama Canal connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Which canal is more important? In terms of economic and geographical importance, it can be said that both canals play a vital role in facilitating global trade. But the Suez Canal may be of greater significance in the Middle Eastern and global context, especially as it links oil markets in the Arabian Gulf with Europe. In contrast, the Panama Canal is pivotal in trade between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Conclusion: the Panama Canal represents an extraordinary engineering and historical achievement that drastically changed the course of global trade. It has been a key factor in speeding up trade and reducing maritime transport costs. Over time, the canal has continued to expand and adapt to modern challenges, maintaining its position as one of the most important maritime passages in the world. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. See you in more stories.